If you've ever downed a modern energy drink to survive a 9 a.m. lecture or a midnight gaming session, you know the vibe. You get a little shaky, your heart does a little tap dance, and you feel like you can fight God. But what if your energy drink didn't just give you wings? What if it made you literally glow in the dark? Welcome back to the 1920s and 30s, a time before pesky things like scientific consensus or the FDA having teeth. A time when the hottest health craze on the market was a little beverage called RadiThor. Its main proprietary ingredient? Literal, raw, radioactive radium. And today, we're telling the story of how a fake doctor, a very rich man, and a tiny glass bottle changed product safety laws forever. Let's meet our mastermind, William J. Bailey. Now, everyone in the press called him Dr. Bailey. He claimed he graduated from Harvard and had a PhD from the University of Vienna. Spoiler alert, he dropped out of Harvard after 3 semesters because of debt, and the Vienna degree was totally made up. He was less of a doctor and more of a guy who just really liked making a quick buck. Before getting into the radioactive cocktail business, Bailey had a colorful resume. He got arrested for running a fake car company where his factory was literally an abandoned sawmill with a single box of tools. He also sold a fraudulent pill called Lass-I-Go for superb manhood. Classy. But in the 1920s, Marie Curie's discovery of radium was the talk of the town. People didn't know it caused cell damage. They just saw this miraculous element emitting raw energy and light. Naturally, the capitalist gears in Bailey's brain started spinning. He launched RadioThor. It was sold in tiny, half-ounce bottles for $1 a pop, which was a lot of money back then. It was just triple distilled water infused with radium-226 and radium-2228. Bailey was so confident his drink was packed with nuclear power that he offered a $1,000 reward to anyone who could prove it wasn't radioactive. And he was telling the truth. It was highly radioactive. He also guaranteed it was harmless in every respect. Narrator voice: it was not. Enter Eben Byers. Byers was the ultimate 1920s Chad. He was a US amateur golf champion, a graduate of Yale, and the wealthy president of a massive steel company. He was a legendary man about town who loved the finer things in life. In 1927, Byers injured his arm while partying on a train after a Harvard-Yale football game. His doctor, who was getting a sweet 17% kickback commission from Bailey, by the way, suggested he try this hot new health drink, RadiThor, to speed up his recovery. Byers took a sip, felt a sudden rush of warmth and energy, which we now know was just his tissues reacting to cellular irritation, and said, "Oh yeah, this is the stuff." He didn't just drink RadiThor, he mainlined it. Over the next 2 years, Byers drank up to 3 bottles a day. He loved it so much he gave cases of it to his business colleagues. He fed it to his expensive racehorses. He made sure his girlfriends had constant supplies on hand. He felt like $1 million. Until 1930. When the radium finally cashed its checks. See, the human body is pretty smart, but it can be easily fooled. Radium behaves chemically very similar to calcium. So when Byers drank all that radium, his bones looked at it and said, "Oh nice, extra calcium for the bone bank," and deposited it straight into his skeletal system, especially his jaw. By 1930, Byers stopped drinking RadiThor because, well, his teeth started falling out. And it wasn't just a cavity issue. The radium was actively breaking down his bone structure from the inside out. When the Federal Trade Commission stepped in to investigate Bailey's claims that the drink was harmless, they sent an attorney named Robert Wynne to interview Byers at his gorgeous oceanfront mansion. Wynne's report was legendary and terrifying. He noted that Byers was staying in a stunning, opulent setting, but his actual bones were failing him so severely that his entire jaw had to be surgically removed to save his life, and he had to communicate via a writing pad. The radium had literally dissolved his bone tissue. Byers passed away in 1932. His death made front-page national news, and it sent an absolute shockwave through the country. Byers' tragic end was the final nail in the coffin for the wild, unregulated era of radioactive quack medicine. The government finally stepped in with actual teeth. The Federal Trade Commission ordered Bailey to stop selling RadioThor, and the FDA's powers were massively expanded to make sure people couldn't just sell radioactive waste as a morning pick-me-up. As for our fake doctor, William Bailey, he never went to jail for it. He claimed it was the Great Depression, not the government, that ruined his business. He later pivoted to selling compressed seaweed tablets, which were thankfully not radioactive. He eventually died in 1949 of bladder cancer at age 64. To this day, Eben Byers is buried in a lead-lined coffin in Pittsburgh because his remains are still highly radioactive and will be for thousands of years. So, the next time you open a regular energy drink and complain about the artificial sweetener aftertaste, just remember, at least it's not packing 2 microcuries of raw, bone-melting element 88. Stay safe, check your ingredients, and we'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.